grow your own. The only distance they've travelled is from the plot to the table. They're absolutely fresh and the taste is irresistible. Over this series, I rediscover the joy of growing my and we prove that all you need is a 3-metre square plot to have fresh veg all year round. Each week I'll be helping first-time gardener Louise and her family see just how easy it is to grow your own. And we'll show you that whatever the size of your patch, from a balcony 6 floors up to a suburban back garden, anyone can grow veg. So whether you've a pot or a plot, I do hope this series will inspire you to grow your own veg. I've lived here at Glebe Cottage with my husband Neil and our 2 daughters for almost 30 years. I've run my nursery business from here for 25 of them. The garden's long on a south-facing slope and it nestles into the side of a hill. The soil's heavy clay, hard work but very fertile. I've always wanted to get back to organic veg growing. Well, the nursery's on its feet. I've stopped doing shows and the girls have left home. And now I've got the opportunity to grow my own. I just can't wait. Close to the house so I can have a real kitchen garden, and it faces due south so it gets the sun from 9 till 5. I decided that the very best way to make use of this limited space was to build 8 8x4 deep beds. These beds were originally used to raise plants for my nursery. The idea of a deep bed is to create a deep root run, which means you can grow things much more intensively. I'm going to dedicate each of the beds to growing a particular group of veg. Roots, brassicas, legumes and squashes. That way I can rotate them each year to avoid disease and soil fatigue. The second area I've chosen is on the west side of the house, where I've built 3 large raised beds. Traditionally, when you're starting a vegetable plot on virgin ground, you're bunging your spuds first of all, because of the deep cultivation that you have to employ when you're growing them. Really helps break up the ground, and that's just what I'm going to do with this virgin plot.
Sunshine is creeping in, and somewhere in a field alive again.
As a general rule of thumb, when the grass begins to grow, it's time to plant your spuds. There's a lot of mystique about chitting potatoes. All it really means is getting your seed potatoes and putting them in a nice, bright, frost-free place so they can develop their first little shoots. Opinions are divided about whether or not it does any good, but I always chip my potatoes. Some people like to pop their potatoes in with a trowel. That's fine if you're on light sandy soil. But on my heavy clay, I like to dig a really deep trench, nice and wide and very, very deep. Because potatoes are the tubers born on the ends of roots, and what they need is a big a root run as they possibly can get. I make my trench about a spade deep and about 2 spades width. It's the most wonderful work. It's deeply satisfying. When you've dug your trench, it's time to plant your potatoes. This is ideal. It's been chitted and it's got strong, stubby little shoots. These are virus-free seed potatoes. And never plant potatoes from the supermarket. These have been specially prepared, so they're much less likely to suffer from disease. And just push them into the bottom of the trench. I'm putting mine about 6 inches apart because these are deep beds. Here I can grow things really intensively. Just nestle them into the soil. Make sure they're comfy and feeling at home. I'm putting in Red Duke of York, which is a really good eating potato, because that's what we're after, flavour. And a lot of people say flavour's in your soil. The Royal Horticultural Society are also working on a veg plot. And they're going to prove you don't need a large garden to have veg all year round. They're creating a 3 by 3 metre plot designed to fit into the smallest back garden or urban space. Alison Mundy and Amy Lax will be finding out just how much organically grown veg this small plot can produce throughout the year.
I really like the idea of this 3 metre by 3 metre plot. I think it's got loads of potential.
Yeah, I think it's quite an interesting challenge actually, because if we're looking at trying to get something from the garden for every day of the year possibly.
Yeah, but I don't think we can be self-sufficient in a plot this size. I mean, that kind of thing is for allotments, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
I think you're right, yeah.
I wouldn't bother with things like potatoes or onions, you know, things that either take up a lot of space or that you can grow, buy from, say, a supermarket.
And they're cheap anyway, aren't they? So no problem with that. And certainly not some of the big brassicas like sprouts and huge cabbages and things.
Yeah, we've also got to make the best use of the space. So once something's come out, we've got to plant something else straight away.
Yeah, straight away we've got to be ready, haven't we?
And I guess that means also we want to have stuff that's going to crop really well too.
Yeah, high yielding,
yeah.
high yielding.
Yeah.
A 3 metre square is marked out and divided into 2 beds. This means that all areas of the soil are accessible without treading on it and compacting it. The pathways are lined with a permeable membrane and covered with bark chippings. The raised beds are filled with Harlow Carr's own compost, produced on site.
Look how gorgeous it is.
The next step is to divide the beds into squares. This helps to manage what you grow throughout the season so that every inch of the soil is productive.
So what have we got in this square throughout the year, for example?
Okay, so the first thing for this is we've got some early salads, some quite hardy stuff going in there. Mm-hmm. But after that, we're talking really into summer now, maybe June, early June, I guess.
Yeah.
We've got a second crop of peas. Those will be ready in time for us to get some garlic in late September, early October, even into November up here.
Right.
And that'll be there all winter then.
Once you've got stuff sown, the maintenance isn't going to take too long at all, and it's just a question of coming out and checking up on it and see how things are doing, really.
What do you reckon, a couple of hours a week, maybe?
Yeah, something like that seems quite reasonable.
We'll be following the progress of the plot throughout the series. As the weather warms up, my first potatoes start to emerge.
Lived in a shed. Spent most of his days out of his head.
The textbooks say the perfect time to prepare the ground for a veg patch is the autumn. But let's face it, it's cold and it's wet. It's much more fun to do it in the early spring, when the days are longer and the ground's warming up. That's just what first-time veg grower Louise and her family have decided to do. Louise, husband Paul and their 3 children, Charlie 13, Molly 9 and 12-month-old Imogen, are starting from scratch. They're a busy, active family with a fitness business to run. Gardening's never been part of their life before, but Louise is determined to create a productive vegetable patch in their own back garden. They live just 20 minutes away from me, and I'll have the pleasure of helping them to grow their own.
So leave your house.
Food on my table from my garden with nothing on it, tasting nice, knowing, you know, where it's come from. I can grow grass, so I must be able to grow something else.
Look at that. You'd never ever suspect that there was anything like this. You just come in off the street and there it is.
The top end of the garden gets the sun first, and then it comes, you know, down to the bottom end of the garden, so it's pretty much in the sun all day.
Yeah, so absolutely perfect, because that's just what vegetables need. And they'd really benefit from these walls all the way around.
Yeah.
Because it's so sheltered, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So who pegged it out?
Paul did this morning, before he went to work.
Oh, that's nice of him.
Yeah.
Because it's a lovely thing to share too, growing vegetables, I think.
Yeah.
But I didn't realise you got a greenhouse.
The most romantic birthday present I've ever had.
Did Paul buy that for you? Oh, but that's fabulous. That's really lovely.
Yeah.
And, you know, the more I see of this, the more impressed I am. I mean, this stuff really... It's lovely.
Yeah.
It's proper black dirt, isn't it? It's just fantastic. But I reckon we can get this all dug, you know, in a couple of hours.
Oh, easy.
Yeah. Be all done and perfect by the time
Paul gets home, yeah.
I think the first thing you've got to do is just remove all these dandelion heads. They're perennials. They come up every year. So unless you actually remove the whole root, I think they'll just come back again. Look at that.
That's huge.
That's quite some root system, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do your children like vegetables?
Charlie loves veg. Molly's a bit like her dad, really.
Right.
A bit fussy.
What is it you want to grow? Have you thought it all out?
My favourite is runner beans. I love runner beans.
Yeah.
Really love runner... And peas. I like peas. And Molly loves carrots.
Right.
Bit of everything.
I think you could really intensively plant in here, because your soil's, you know, it's nice. I mean, it's basically lovely. Can you get a hold of a handful? Just try squeezing it. Now, if it was really heavy clay, you know, it'd just stay like that. But all you need to do with yours is just push it a little bit and it disintegrates. It's really loamy. So it's neither clay nor sand, you know, it doesn't slip through your fingers. And I think it will be the very, very best of soils for growing vegetables.
Hey, sweetheart, how you doing? Good day?
I'm going to take this up to the top corner where you burn all your stuff.
Oh, OK.
Well, look at that. That's not a bad beginning, is it, really?
No, not at all. It's really good. I'm really pleased.
Good. So I think that bit down there ought to be for you and your roots, you know, for your carrots and beetroot and all those sort of things. And if you have your beans across the back,
Yeah.
because this is south-facing,
Yeah.
but if you divide the whole thing up into four chunks, and then you can actually rotate your crops. You can, you know, move them round, so you're never growing the same crop in the same place.
You're going to come back and help me each year, then, are you?
I don't think I'm going to need to, Louise, because I think you're in there already. I think you really, you know, the need for my services will be completely dispensed with. And I mean, you know, look at all the help you've got.
Yeah. Digger. Digger number 1.
fabulous.
Wow.
What are they like?
Red.
I left Louise and Paul to make a start on their plot.
I'm a woman of the land now.
What does Carol say about this?
Oh, you only want to go back a foot, don't you?
A foot. OK, then. What we're going to put at the bottom of this?
Beans.
What beans?
Runner. But apparently you've got to line it with some cardboard and paper and stuff.
Why is that
Not quite
then?
sure why.
This is the Rolls Royce of runner bean trenches. It's a tried and trusted way to get a bountiful crop.
Oh, the kids would have loved doing this, wouldn't they?
Success is everything when you're a first-time veg grower. Runner beans are thirsty plants. You can use any organic material to retain moisture, including recycled cardboard and newspaper.
Down. Down. Over. Good boy. Paw. Paw. Other paw. Good boy. Up. Up. Good sit. Speak. Good boy. What a good boy. Yes, you are a clever boy. So the next thing Carol said, Paul should stick some of this turf in.
Go on. Oh, nearly dropped it.
Grass side down, yeah?
Grass side down. Oh,
It's
look.
a man's world.
That. How long have you had this stuff?
Since before I was pregnant.
Gosh. Look at that, well rotted.
Oh, that's
Oh,
a lovely job.
Say again?
That's it up. Hello, bud, you all right? Good day at school?
No.
Why not?
English.
I think I can smell it now. It's getting
Oh,
closer
yeah.
down this end, don't you?
Get it in there, come on. Hurry up, we haven't got all day. Get it.
You mucky pup.
Nice, really.
Want some Stilton? I want to harvest fresh veg all the year round, and a crop that steps in when your spuds are finished is the Jerusalem artichoke. Not to be confused with a globe artichoke, the Jerusalem artichoke belongs to the sunflower family, and it's a rather neglected, sweet, nutty delicacy. Like potatoes, it's the tubers underground that you eat, harvested from November through to early spring. My lovely friends Muriel and Nicholas have grown Jerusalem artichokes for as long as I can remember. They gave me some to plant once, but I lost them. So I'm taking the opportunity to drop them off a gift and catch a few more artichokes. They're a smashing couple. They've just retired, having farmed the land for more than 50 years. And Muriel's a wonderful cook.
Hello, Carol.
Lovely to
Found you. Yes, I saw you come in the yard.
It's a belated present for your golden wedding.
That's very kind
Klein,
of you.
Come and get your artichokes.
Yeah, I want something for nothing, don't I, really? You reckon they're really easy, don't you, artichoke?
I do. I think they'll grow in any waste corner you've got. And once you've got them forever.
How come I lost them, then?
If you can't grow artichokes, you wouldn't grow much else.
Can I grab a spade?
Yeah, I've got a big... You want a fork for artichokes?
Oh, do you? Right.
Yeah.
It's quite tucked away, isn't it?
Yes,
Is this all artichokes?
it is all artichokes in this corner.
And how long have they been here?
25 years.
Look at that! Isn't that wonderful? Right, shall I get out of the way and dig us a few more, Nicholas? I'm not dropping hints. How many do you think I need?
Oh, good. It'll take as many as you
Do you
like.
want a whole basket full?
No, certainly not. Each of these will make one big
they'll
plant, will it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lovely fat one. Look at that. Look at that. I can almost taste it now. What a yield. So what are we actually cooking, Muriel?
We were going.
Brilliant. I've never ever had those. Go on then, show me how you do it.
Well, just slice them as you would potatoes.
Ooh, look at that. It's lovely and knobbly.
Yes. They're a beggar to peel. You want to be watching a long film on television and sit with these in front of you and do
Sitting
them.
there with a pal.
Yeah.
That's how my
Yes.
mum used to peel potatoes sometimes. Why on earth are they called Jerusalem artichokes?
I don't know, because they're not connected with Jerusalem at all, are they?
No.
And they're not connected with the other sort of artichoke, are they?
They're nothing at all to do with globe artichokes, are they?
No.
But I read somewhere that it's something to do with, I think it's French or Italian, girasol, because they're related to sunflowers, aren't they?
Yes, yes.
And I think the flowers turn towards the sun.
Oh, and that's why, and it's a corruption of that.
I think so, yes. Do they take a long time to cook, Muriel?
No, the preparation's more time-consuming,
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
quite fiddly, isn't it?
Yes.
You've really got to want those chips. Bet you could bake them in just the same way you could parsnips.
Yes, the books say you can.
Oh, it's hot. It's so good. It's absolutely delicious. It's sort of scented. It's lovely. Do you think Nicholas is hungry?
I think he is. It's a long time since he had his breakfast, isn't it?
Never mind those old onions. Look what we've brought you.
Oh, artichoke chips, lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
It's the very first time I've ever tried them. I think they're so
nice,
good.
aren't they? Yes, they're
Yeah.
unusual. You'd know they weren't potato chips, wouldn't you?
I just wonder why these aren't more popular, though. He's eating all these. Come on, Muriel.
I'm quite hungry, to tell you the truth.
Are you?
Well, Nicholas said any fool can grow artichokes, so I shouldn't have too much trouble. But I'm going to put them here in the end of a potato bed, because I think they're going little fat tuber is going to make all that stuff. But you can see already all these little knobbly bits that are all going to make new shoots. Well, unlike the spuds that they're sharing the bed with, these are a permanent crop. These are actually going to stay in position, in place, forever, really. They'll grow up with a great big tall stems, and then while that's happening, they'll be making these big tubers under the ground. Of course, I'm going to have to watch out that they don't decide to colonise the whole potato patch, because judging from the evidence at Nicholas and Muriel's, that's exactly what they'd like to do. earthed up these potatoes a time or two. Just made these great big ridges, and they've got these lovely sort of troughs in between. Now, the reason you earth up potatoes is because by now they've made such big tubers in here that if you just left them to their own devices, all those tubers would be lying on the surface of the soil, and then they'd be green and inedible. So when I harvest these spuds, they're going to be luscious, and not one of them will be green. June's also the time that the potato blight fungus strikes. The first signs are leaf spots, and then smelly, rotten tubers underground. To avoid it, plant early cropping varieties, harvested before blight strikes, or blight-resistant ones such as Sharpo. Whacking this huge post in because last night we had the end of a hurricane, and my Jerusalem artichoke, this big one on the end, blew over completely. And you're supposed to be able to use it with a windbreaker, but it definitely didn't do the job. But look here, just look what it's done. It's exposed all these roots down here, and I can see this incredible root system and all these tubers at the end. There's hundreds of them, and every single one of these little nodules is going to grow into a separate artichoke. From these few plants, I'm going to have enough tubers to take me right through into the new year and through the winter, when my potatoes are just a distant memory. Where's my string? Oh gosh. I'll be able to harvest these from November. Unlike potatoes, they're frost hardy, and they can stay in the ground until I need them. My very, very first potatoes. This is the Red Duke of York. And look at the size of the plants. They're walloping, but this ground's as hard as can be. God, blimey. Oh, look at this lot. Oh, there's masses. Oh, and they're so pink and red and crimson. They're just lovely. What bounty. Oh. And now for Annabelle. This is the most lovely salad potato. I reckon on this big high trench we're going to have a fabulous crop. Oh look! Just look at that! Absolutely perfect. Are there any more? Is that it? I wonder what they taste like.
Hey, you get off my land!
Look what your land's grown. Isn't that magnificent?
Oh, lovely, isn't it?
Aren't they beautiful? It's Annabelle.
Yellow and waxy.
Delicious! Oh, I don't know who should be helping who up. Thanks, love. Don't you look good, though?
Yeah,
Just like old times, Neil.
yeah.
Ooh, can I have the first one?
Yeah, go on.
Perfect. Doesn't that just look fabulous? They're so waxy, they're so good, these. This is Annabelle, isn't it? They're delicious. Cheers.
Cheers. Welcome back to the wonderful world of potatoes.
You say all the right things. For details on everything you've seen in the programme, go to bbc.co.uk